Do you ever find a package on your doorstep and you don't even know what you ordered? Well, that's what happened today. And this would have been a much more interesting unboxing, I guess, had I not already opened it. But yeah, you can see I already cut it with my 25-cent garage sale pocket knife, and voila! I guess I'm a bad Kickstarter patron, but I purchased or funded this thing last year, and I completely forgot. And I just don't read the emails. And it's funny because a little while ago I found this dual analog N64 controller. So I'm really hyped to get my hands on this thing, which, you know, it doesn't have the dual analog, but it has a really nice analog stick there, which actually was one of my complaints about this one, having sticks that were kind of slippery. Mostly a problem in Mario 64. First up,
it's me, Mario.
Mario, of course. Already this controller feels a lot better than an Alpha 64 controller. Just doing the turn flip here, anything like that was really difficult because the sticks on that one, they were twisty. They would slip underneath your finger. They would turn, actually. So doing stuff where you had to change direction really quickly, you could get a grip on it, learn how to handle it, but it's definitely like handling a wet eel or something. Both the Alpha 64 and this Retro Fighters controller, I mean, just to be able to do the long jump with the shoulder button is a lot easier. I would always handle the N64 with a wide grip and use my middle finger to do that. Now, I'm a pretty stubborn old gamer. I learned how to handle my controllers with 2 hands, not 3. So, but while Mario is a great indicator of how well the analog stick works, it is there are better games, or games better suited for testing out the full functionality of the N64 controller. So yeah, let's get to it. These guys are pretty much no nonsense when it comes to packaging. There's no receipt. There is a manual and a thank you message. And these are the people who paid top dollar to get their names printed in something that I'm going to read. But I guess that's nice for them. This is really light. Weighing in at 187 grams, or, you know, that's about half a pound, or a little bit under half a pound. 6 5/8 ounces is the Retro Fighters pad. 8 1/8 ounces, so just at half a pound. 229 grams is the official Extreme Green N64 controller. And I mean, I can feel the difference between these three. This guy is definitely the alpha of them all here. It's definitely going to be the heaviest. We got 9 7/8 ounces, or 281 grams. Alright, got the rumble pack inserted before I start the system. Now this is, to me, this game is a true test of how much I like this controller, because I actually really enjoy using the original N64 pad with this game. Alright, we got rumble. Ooh, that felt really good.
Do a barrel roll.
But I mean, it's very responsive. Just this move here is super responsive on the controller. So the stick features this rubberized grip. It's definitely a plus. plenty of times my hands have slipped off this thing when playing Mario Party games, so this is definitely a bonus. It doesn't have the grooves on it like the original N64 controller or GameCube controllers, but I still think this is an improvement. Also, there's an octagonal gate. You can see on the edges there, lock in a direction. Makes it easier, I guess, if you're playing Smash Brothers. This D-pad though, we're gonna have to. I don't know about that D-pad. Everybody thinks GoldenEye is the best game to test out a first-person shooter, but I find that the controls in that game frustrate me. So this one will give me. I feel like Turok gives me a better idea of how a first-person shooter should handle on the N64. It really would be nice to have a second analog stick. Anyways, we had a save last time with the Alpha64 controller, so let's see if it works. I got the memory card plugged in there, and it's not corrupted! Hooray! Congratulations, N64, you did your job. I actually have a third-party memory card that I'm going to try out now, just to see if that'll save. So, I'm finding that Alpha64 definitely benefited from being able to swap the position of the analog stick, which handled movement, because in this game now I'm stuck with it just feels frustrating. So anyways, let's go test out this memory card. Save, error. Remember, N64 is pretty notorious for not handling, I would say, any memory card, but really third parties, it was a real risk to use these things. As you can see, I have no saves on it because I'm always formatting them, so, oops, come on. I want to use my analog stick to move, but then I also want to use it to shoot in directions. Alright, we got a save going on. So, let's see. It exists. So our third-party controller memory pack works. Yeah, this game has gone from being I could adequately handle it with an N64 controller to not. I really enjoyed using the Alpha64 with Turok. It wasn't a dual analog in the way I would expect it, but I did feel like I had some semblance of control. From the side, it looks like this guy is definitely thicker around the handles. Reminds me of a 360 controller, whereas this one comes more to the point. The backs, this is definitely taller. Z triggers, L and R's. Just like this one had that feature, the Z triggers. The grip, pretty much the same width. This is definitely going to feel a lot easier for younger players, I feel. Even though, you know, you pretty much can slide your hands up and down these handles depending on, I guess, your hand size. This smaller overall size is definitely going to make it easier for younger players to handle the N64 pad. Yeah! It would have been neat if they had put, you know, Brawler64 or Retro Fighters on there, you know, just like Nintendo puts their own logo. Back by popular demand. Oh goodness, GoldenEye. So got our forward, back, our turn. The thing that frustrates me about this game is how my up and down look is mapped to the same thing as my strafe. And similarly, the look left and right is mapped to the analog stick, which moves you forward and backwards. Man, I guess some people get used to it, but I suck at this game, and you can see how much I suck. Oh my god. Yeah. It's not any better, okay? So, I think still the N64, the original N64 controller was much better at handling this game. It's definitely a little sensitive. I think can I switch the sensitivity with the stick in this game? I think I can do that in the Turok games, or the later ones. Yeah, but there you go. There's me sucking at GoldenEye. That's all. That's all you need to know. That this controller does not really improve my GoldenEye experience. One thing I noticed about the Brawler64 controller is the cord length is slightly shorter than the official pad. Maybe about 10 inches or so shorter. Alright, the true test of the D-pad. Oh man, Treasure. At least you made something on the N64. So we got our dash. I mean, it works. Better than the official controller, but I gotta say that there's a fluidity that the D-pad has on the Alpha 64, and I keep bringing that up. It really is a good comparison to make, other than the official N64 controller, and because I put up a video of that recently, but so it is a good comparison when you want to get, if you're looking for a better N64 controller. So, but yes, the D-pad on this thing, not so good as the Alpha 64, but much better than the N64 official controller. I didn't even realize this, but there's a turbo button here. You press turbo and the button you want to have turboed, and you can turbo it. And if you want to clear it, you press clear and the button, and it clears. So, there you go, a turbo functionality. For all those shooters on the N64, right? Oh man. So let's pop the trunk on this thing and see what's going on inside. It looks like the standard placement of screws. It feels like there's going to be one here. There's a depression of a well I can feel underneath the sticker. But let's just try unscrewing these and see if we can pop it off the back. Feel some, it's definitely not coming apart. I can feel something holding it back here. Maybe there's a clip on the inside. Yep, there we go. It's the hidden 7th screw. At least I didn't have to apply heat to that thing. Alright. There we go. Something still. There, maybe it's just wedge it a bit. And we're seeing a lot of repeat games here because I enjoy these games. Actually, wow. I'm noticing quite a bit of control. I'm noticing quite a bit of control over the time that I never had with the official N64 controller. I feel like I'm nailing the marks every time with this stick. I was just going to play this game just for the hell of it, but it actually is proving this stick is much better than the official controller. I gotta take a look inside this thing because just the the amount of control I have with this tongue seems ridiculous compared to the official pad. There's definitely been some improvements. I think I figured it out. I think it's these buttons here. As I pull up, they seem to be caught on a ledge of the outer rim here. So I don't know if I can kind of push it in and then slide it past that. Because these are probably propped on the circuit board, I don't want to put too much force on it, otherwise I might break the circuit board. I was able to pop this side open by wedging a piece of metal between the lip here and inside the controller and kind of just pushing against the shoulder button. And I was trying to do that on both sides with this screwdriver. It was making it really difficult, but I was able to pop out one side. Getting the other side should be really easy, but yeah, you just have to kind of press in between there. And I was afraid this plastic was going to snap, but it's actually holding together pretty well. I was going to use a piece of cloth to minimize any scratching or bending of the plastic, but yeah, it's actually held together pretty well. I don't see any stress marks or anything, so I'm gonna have to unscrew the board here to get access to the analog stick, so let's do that. Something's keeping the shoulder buttons back here stuck into the board, so I don't want to rip the cables that are actually securing or connecting the shoulder buttons to the motherboard here, so I have to be very careful. So I decided to leave them in there. It seems like they're wedged into their plastic pieces that secure them pretty tightly. It doesn't really matter that I remove them anyways. I just want to take a look at this analog stick. It's pretty standard analog stick, very similar to a GameCube or PlayStation dual analog. And this actually, funny thing is, these are held on very nicely. These pads here, I noticed, they're held on pretty nicely compared to a lot of controllers I open up. These definitely won't peel off easily, and probably won't collect a lot of gunk underneath them very easily. So good on the Retro Fighters team. So while it won't be a full replacement for every single game I play on the N64, it's definitely a major improvement and probably will be my main pad that I use for the N64. Just the tracking on the analog stick here is so much better. I mean, I always felt like I was almost shooting arrows in the dark when playing Chameleon Twist, but it has so much more accuracy in detecting movements. Maybe it's just a little bit more sensitive. I did notice in the first-person shooters how it was changing my aim much more fast than I'd liked it to. But I think for those games, I still will use the Alpha 64 here. The ability to swap these sticks and be able to manipulate whatever option you choose here, being movement or aiming, whatever. It's far better. But I will say that for most games, especially platformers and flight games, this is a much better controller. I'll probably end up using the official N64 controller for Star Fox, though just the improvement in the responsiveness of these triggers was was so much better. It felt really nice doing the barrel rolls in that game. So I highly recommend this controller. I mean, I don't know what the price is going to be after Kickstarter, but I don't even know how these guys were able to do it. $20, you get the controller and free shipping within the US. I mean, that's remarkable. And the build quality, very strong, sturdy. I'm twisting it right now. I'm not putting my full strength, but it's pretty sturdy. So, highly recommend this controller.